I'm Raha Hakimdavar. I was a 2013-2014 NAF Fulbright Fellow in Water Management, and I studied as part of my PhD at the Technical University of Delft in Delft, Netherlands. The NAF Fulbright supported part of my doctoral research and really has been a huge part of my life, both professionally and personally. And I have the pleasure of being joined tonight by two fellow NAF Fulbright Fellows. And what's amazing is that between the three of us, we cover a very broad area of expertise. And we are in very different fields, but really the NAF Fulbright is what has brought us together. So I'm joined here by Vonk and Aydan Figaroa. So I wanted to, just find out from the two of you what your experience was like, because while I did my exchange to the Netherlands, from the United States to the Netherlands, you actually came from the Netherlands to the US. So I'm really curious to learn about what you worked on during your fellowship year. And yet maybe you could start first, because you did yours actually the same year that I did mine.
Fun, yeah. Well, that will be 2013. So I came to New York to do my PhD. I did my PhD in Speech, Language, Hearing Sciences at the Graduate Center of the City University of New York. And I studied neurolinguistics, how language works in the brain. And my thesis was about how language is, where the meaning of words are located in the brain, and how this part of language degenerates in certain forms of dementia.
That's amazing. And again, I mean, to me, it's amazing to see the difference between our, what areas of work the fellowship really funds. So Aydan, you just started your fellowship, and it's during a very crazy time. Can you tell us a little bit about what you plan to do and maybe what you've done up to this point?
Very crazy indeed. So I just moved to New Haven 4 months ago to pursue a second LLM degree at Yale Law School. So after teaching for a year at Utah University and conducting research in Kenya and Tanzania, I'm now looking into the various ways the human rights framework can protect traditional culture. So what I'm hoping to do this year is really go into depth, take courses in my field, and try to gain a better understanding of how important this issue is and how the human rights framework can help achieve the goals I am aiming to achieve.
That's fantastic. And what is it that inspired you to pursue the fellowship?
I think the most obvious answer would be the financial support, which has been great. But I think especially during these very crazy COVID times, the emotional, mental support, the network, the support system that is the NAF Fulbright network has been incredible. So I think that prior to becoming a NAF Fellow, I would have said the financial support is the most important part of a NAF Fellowship. But I think that over the past 4 months, I can already tell that meeting all the people in the NAF Fulbright network has been eye-opening, amazing, and incredibly interesting.
Absolutely, and I feel exactly the same way, because what's really special about the fellowship is that you really are part of a network. And I think as you move further past your fellowship year, you really start to see the impact of that. So yet, since we started at the same time, we joined the network at the same time, how did that experience impact your life, both professionally and personally?
The fellowship has impacted my life tremendously. I definitely wouldn't be sitting at this table, but I probably wouldn't be living in the apartment that I'm living right now. I probably wouldn't be doing the job that I'm doing right now if it wasn't for this fellowship. So it impacted me in that after my PhD program, I was hired as a postdoctoral researcher at Columbia University. That's where I learned about epidemiological research. I further developed this line of research. I obtained another master's in epidemiology. I'm pursuing a second PhD in epidemiology. And it's all because this fellowship put me on the path to discovering new fields of research and new directions. I've learned a lot during my PhD, for which I got this fellowship, but I also made a lot of connections, both personally and professionally, that have broadened my world. And really gave me a new perspective on culture, on education, and a lot of personal connections that have helped me throughout the years.
Yeah, what's funny now is thinking about it. So your fellowship led you to Columbia, while mine took me away from Columbia to go to Delft. So it's really funny how, you know, those we're so interconnected through this network. So Aydan, I'm wondering if you could give one piece of advice to someone that's interested in applying for the fellowship or the program. What would it be?
I think one of the most important things I've learned this year is that you really have to find your passion, make sure that you are fully aware what your own passion is, and you're able to tell other people why you're so interested in a specific field or a specific subject. So I think that prior to applying, really question yourself, what is the main reason you are pursuing this fellowship? And I think afterwards, just enjoying the experience. So make the most of it during your time in the US, but especially after that time, as was already explained, make use of the network and the lovely people that are more than willing to hear you out, to give you advice, or just to help you along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to go back on this question. Well, it's what you touched at about culture, because part of the NAF Fulbright Fellowship is an academic exchange. That's correct, but there's also a cultural exchange aspect to it that is, I think, in some ways more impactful. So what are your thoughts on that cultural exchange piece and how that has played out for you since the time that you did your Fulbright?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more that the cultural part is so important. As when you get this fellowship, you're not there just going abroad for your own academic experience. You're sort of a cultural ambassador from the Netherlands to the United States, or the other way around. If you're a US citizen coming to the Netherlands, you bring your own culture, but you're also learning about the culture of the country that hosts you. But also, as we talked about this network, there's a huge international network of Fulbright Fellows that come into the US every year and that go from the US to other countries. And you really get integrated through events and gatherings with this network. And I've met so many wonderful fellows from all over the world that with whom you make long-lasting connections that become your friends, but also professionally you can interact with. I'm still in contact with them. And it's not just fellows, peers from the same age as you are, but also older mentors and people that can help you and guide you and have been where you are at that point in your life. So it really sets you up with a huge, amazing network that will last you a lifetime.
Yeah, and I can attest to that because as one of the water management fellows, I'm actually one of over 20 since that program began, and that has been one of the most special things that I've really taken away, because it's this network of people first that had the same or similar experience as I did, where they did an exchange from the US to the Netherlands to study water management and are now all working professionally, those that are alumni in the field. So we actually get to work together. And last year, the fellows decided to come together and we organized an event which was actually partially funded by by a NAF cultural program grant. And we organized a 2-day event about water, climate change, and culture and art during New York City Climate Week. So it really is that lasting network that you speak about really is meaningful. So now I just want to end with a fun, quick question. So in 3 words, can you summarize your experience with the NAF Fulbright Fellowship? Aydan?
I would say eye-opening, a roller coaster, and an incredible experience, which is not 3 words, but
It works.
Yeah, to perfectly summarize my experience so far.
Very poignant.
I'm a law student, so I'm not good with numbers.
Yes. No, you can write us a document about it, I'm sure. Very
Will
long
do.
one. Okay. And yet?
For me, it would be unique, diverse, and life-changing.
Beautiful. Thank you both so much for joining me here, and thank you all for tuning in. So with that, we just, hopefully we gave you a little bit of insight into how really impactful the fellowship is for the fellows, and it's much more than just a funding mechanism for most of us, if not all of us. You really are gaining from a lot of value from being part of this beautiful and fantastic network. So thank you so much, and hope you continue to support us.